So what I just, I just get random thoughts sometimes. So I said, the fastest way to create black wealth is not stocks, real estate, or crypto. That doesn't mean that we're not champions of stocks, real estate, and crypto. Obviously, we have
Mm-hmm.
a show called Market Mondays where we talk about stocks all the time. But if 6 million black men ages 40 to 60 each had $1 million life insurance policy, that would create $6 trillion in tax-free wealth transfer to the next generation. The average policy costs less than a car note.
Mm-hmm.
6 trillion. And the reason why I said it's just the easiest because it doesn't take,
You don't got to be a genius to do it. Yep.
you don't got to do
And to Ross Mack's point, the killing that happens in our community, the insurance companies will make sure that we don't get killed at a certain clip because it's going to cost them a certain amount to pay that shit out. It's an economic decision. Even like when you guys did the episode about the police bonds, like if an officer does something, they already have investments in place to cover the lawsuits. If all of us are insured, they're going to thwart some of the issues that are happening. Now, the other conversation is, will they raise the premiums up and try and prices out? But let's act really quick to get covered.
And why did I just say men? Of course, women should get insurance also, but I always thought a good campaign would be every black man in America needs at least $1 million of life insurance. At least $1 million of life insurance. That should be a goal. What if and like I said, did ages 40 to 60 because that's prime. Those are prime ages.
Mm-hmm.
What if every black man in America, or in that case, 6 million black men, which I don't think that's every single black man, but what if 6 million black men or every adult black man had $1 million life insurance policy?
Mm-hmm.
That would literally, within the course of probably 30 to 40 years, change the wealth trajectory of black people in America.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, that's $6 trillion of wealth transfer tax-free,
Yep.
let alone retirement plan, stock portfolio, real estate. We're not talking about none of that. Cause like I said, that's why I said, like, you don't have to have any level of brilliance, intelligence,
sophistication,
anything. Yep. And that's shooting for the stars. Hey, even if you don't get $1 million, $500,000, whatever. But think about the wealth transfer that would create in a relatively short period of time.
And like you said, it's cheaper than the car note. Like if you want a permanent policy, I think it's $400 to $1,000 a month for that coverage. Or if you go term, it's like $80 to $250. But just knowing, even in that, like that certain things are covered. Even in like my first InvestFest presentation, I talked about like a business matrix of like 24 assets that you want to have. That was probably fourth on the list. It's needed. Even, and if you want to go up even higher, like a $10 million policy, it's not as much as you think. So I thought it was a brilliant assessment, because a lot, of course, with investing, I always get what stock, how do I know it'll last? It's like, this is an easy asset to buy that's really cheap and cheaper than most costs per share of any company that I would love. So I definitely think it's a win-win.
And okay, so and the black men, why specifically black men? Well, if you're the leaders, if we're going to be leaders in our community and leaders of our family, it has to start with us. So women should get life insurance also. But what I saw, unfortunately, a lot of times in the black community, when I used to be in insurance, I used to be in the world of insurance. Women were getting insured more than men. Black women were getting life insurance at higher rates than black men. That's disturbing. So it's like, if we're gonna lead, you gotta actually lead, right? So set an example, and now everybody can participate in it. But it has to start somewhere. So we did the Million Man March. That was great. Let's have a new Million Man. Let's have a million man
policy march. Yeah,
a million policy. Yes,
because that's what's going to have an impact. Shout out to the minister, and right, but that coverage is important.
Challenge. Since y'all want to do all these challenges, why don't you challenge? Let's start that challenge. Let's start that challenge. Let's start the life insurance challenge. Yep. Let's start the life insurance challenge.
And like I said, term is not even a lot, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Even if you get a 250, like $1 million is great, but for the person who's like, I can't afford that, you can get a $250,000 policy for little or nothing. $40.
Right.
And that's if your habits are all messed up. Like,
right. And it's like anything. If we have a thing amongst men, it's like, look, the goal is to lose 50 pounds. That's the bar. Everybody might not lose 50 pounds. Some people physically can't lose 50 pounds, but you might lose 10. So it's like, if you have a goal of, say, okay, my goal is $1 million life insurance.
Yeah.
No matter where you fall, even if you fall a little bit short of that, or even
it's still a win.
It's still more than you had. So even if it's not 6 trillion that gets transferred, well, what if 1 trillion? What if 1 trillion? What if 1 trillion, not billion, trillion? What if $1 trillion gets transferred from this generation?
Yeah.
This generation of Black men. What if this generation of Black men transfers $1 trillion in tax-free, by the way?
Yep.
Life insurance is tax-free. Tax-free assets to the next generation. That's something that's actually, that can happen. This isn't like a sophisticated, we don't have to have an economic form. We don't got to have.
You don't got to wait for certain prices.
Right, yep. Exactly. Yep. This is something that's a realistic, we're laying out a simple, realistic economic plan that can actually add $1 trillion to the Black ecosystem over the next 30 to 40 years. This actually can happen.
Yeah, life changing. Yeah, it is life changing. And the level of not that you want to think, because I know some people are like, well, I don't want my family to be worried about if I die and try and kill me. It's like, it's not that, but often you leave too much debt behind and then they're struggling. It's a great feeling to know that stuff is going to be, just as a man, to know that that's going to be covered and life is going to be great for them, even if you're not there. Not that money is everything, but it does take some pressure off, especially with inflation going up the way that they're pushing it up as a result of all the spending that's been happening over the last year and a half, 2 years. So, yeah, I think this is a great challenge for sure.
Yeah,
get covered.
Please get yourself covered, please. So what I just get random thoughts sometimes. So I said, the fastest way to create Black wealth is not stocks, real estate, or crypto. That doesn't mean that we're not champions of stocks,